Hey, welcome back. In this astrology video, we're talking about the communication planet Mercury, how it will be affecting our lives for the next 24 days, and how to really bring out power and awareness. This is actually my second time recording this video because the first time I recorded it, there was no sound. And so in Mercury retrograde fashion, we have to make sure that we go back and check, that we go back and make sure and test. And that is the part of retrograde, is like redoing and going over things until all of the details have been met. This is a horoscope. This is a forecast for the next 24 days, just in terms of communication and how to relate to one another. And we are going to do that through evolutionary astrology. So first off, we're going to start with Mercury and what it means. So Mercury represents the exchange of money, ideas, physical movement, and communication. It also represents, like, the birds, the bees, things that are in flight, quick moving. But when Mercury is in Aries, it does add a little flavor. It adds a little pizzazz because it is a fire sign. So it does add more flavor, more oomph, more willpower, more go. And it adds passion and sass and just an overall fiery demeanor. Really, it's being impulsive, it's being unapologetic, and it's being willful. So when Mercury is in Aries, we have these tendencies. I think we will come to is this clarity on what you need, and especially the clarity with who you are. Because Aries people, Aries-centered people, really know who they are. You cannot tell them any different. And so with this Mercury, I wonder if people will be like, no, I really know who I am. Maybe you don't feel like that now because Mercury is in retrograde, because now we're going to talk about the retrograde portion. So when Mercury is in retrograde, it is when the planet slows down so much that it seems as if it is going in a revolving or backwards motion. And so if you think about it, if you've ever been driving in a car and you see a train, and if you're both moving, a lot of times it seems like the train is traveling faster than you are, and it seems as if you're going backwards. So it's like this type thing. Or you can think of it as like an analogy about going inward, about walking backwards, and thinking about your sure footing and making sure that you are not tripping and falling over things, because it's harder to walk backward than forward. So you kind of go inside to be more aware about your movements. And that is what retrograde is bringing, a time for us to slow down, to stop being so automatic, and to really think about the details, to really go over them with a fine-tooth comb. You want to cut through all of those things. With Mars, it's cutting. So you want to make sure that you're going through the things, right? So my teacher mentions in Mercury retrograde that it's a time where you end up spending more. So, when your computers break or when your cars break down, this is a time when you end up paying for things that you wouldn't normally expect to pay for. So it is kind of an expensive time when Mercury goes into retrograde. For some, not for all. I guess it depends on where it's falling in your chart and if these transits are really popping for you. Last time Mercury was in retrograde, it was at 1 degree Capricorn, right over my Neptune placement, and I blew an engine in my van. And so that was one of the most expensive things that ever happened to me, because it's what I lived in. I'm in a different place now, but Mercury retrograde can really, really affect us. So I just want to add that, like, even though that was a really tender moment and it was kind of a thing that happened that was really large, my life has improved exponentially because of it, right? And I couldn't see it at the time because it was a very unsure time, but as time progressed, things just started to clear up. My life really transformed, and I'm in a place that I could have never gotten to had I not like blown the engine on the van,
Hey, I didn't know if you knew, but booking a reading is super easy. Just go to astrologyinthewild.com.
You're spending more, and finding new music is so imperative because you hear things differently in Mercury retrograde. So hearing things differently through music would be something like, go back to your playlist 3 months ago and see where you were, see what kind of music you were listening to, see if that fits. Finding new music that you haven't listened to before, because you're going to hear the little nuances and details that you wouldn't, because you're not in such an automatic type of mind frame. You're thinking about things more. So let's go back to You might hear things different. As people are talking to you, you might take things the wrong way, right? You might get angry, you might take it personal, and you might overthink things and go back over the conversations. Like, this is a big thing when Mercury is in retrograde in the sign of Aries. So I think the most important thing is to really focus on some really good intentions, because there's all these things swirling around and you need to be focused on you. So finding a new mission or cause to follow is such an Aries thing. They are the activists. They are the ones that get up and do a thing, right? And so when Mercury is in Aries, you are thinking and speaking in a way that is really action-oriented. It is thinking about the fair and the justness of life for not just oneself and survival, but a lot of times other people too, because Libra is part of that axis. Aries and Libra are the axis of the nodes of the moon right now. We just had an eclipse in that sign, and Libra is the polarity of Aries. So, when an Aries does a thing, it's not coming from a selfish place. It's coming from, well, if I have, then it's creating for everyone else. And so if you can kind of adopt that mind frame for the next couple days, you might feel a whole lot better. When you're retracing your thoughts, when you're getting deep in it, because it might get a little deeper. We're going to go a little deeper with this forecast at the moment. When you retrace your thoughts, you might be thinking, who am I? Like, really, things have changed and I am not the same person. There are other people having this experience, people that are staying awake and staying alive to their experience. Pulling back your fire and really centering yourself into thinking about, okay, who am I? I am. Who am I? I am. Let's talk about Vesta. Now, Vesta is an asteroid, and I know that there isn't a whole lot of language around it. People don't talk about it too much, but when I read for Mercury, because I'm reading for Mercury in retrograde, I put Mercury on the ascendant, and that leaves Vesta to fall into the third house. And the third house is the ruler of Mercury, Gemini, communication, right? So now we're going to go into Vesta, as it represents the issue of commitment of work and relationship. Commitment is a big deal right now, and you may feel like you want to overcommit. People may be overcommitting to you, yet it might be a really good time to slow down and not commit to anything until you feel extremely sure. And reading all of the fine lines to know if you can be sure, because everything is in the details. So where do your commitments lie at this moment in time? And, with it being in the sign of Cancer, Vesta, I really picked up on this commitment to family and loved ones at this time. I really feel that this is kind of a thing that we are thinking about in terms of commitment. We've got people taking care of family members because they're ill, they're aging, whatever the case is. A lot of times, us as human beings have to care for others. And I know there's a lot of people that have committed towards caring for others. Even my partner has done the same thing just most recently. But I wonder, in your lives, where are you placing commitment? Where are you seeing, things play out where you're going to have to make a decision in that fashion that really puts you in the middle of a family dynamic? You could have these moments where you could be hurt by people closest to you. You might take things a little more personal than usual. You might have to process things and process where you have made commitments and have broken them. And that processing works with the mind, works with the body, but it helps you come to a really good centered place with your own truth and what has really occurred. Because Mercury is ruled by Aries, we want to look to Mars for a little bit more information on where we gather some power and where we get some energy towards communicating in a way that feels good for us for the next 24 days. So when we talk about Mars, Mars is conjunct or together with Saturn. By the time this ends, which will be April 24th, Mars will be conjunct Neptune. It will move and move over to Neptune. So we go from a very Saturn way of kind of seeing if things work, seeing if the same approach is actually going to work for us this time, in which I'm sure that the life and synchronicities and things that are coming before you are showing you that is absolutely, you're absolutely changing the way that you're doing things, because you know that they don't work like that anymore. It's delusional to think that you're going to go in that way. So you're going to let that go. And over the next 24 days, you are going to feel as if you can see the light. Mars is next to Saturn, creating a very karmic connection, creating very old and faded dynamics. Maybe old and faded dynamics with some of the relationships that you've been in. And so when we're coming to letting go, Neptune really helps us with that, because it is the modern ruler of Pisces. It is the way that we transcend and get to a place where we feel at peace and we feel one with the truth of the matter, with what the story really is. So you're transforming your communication into free will instead of victimization. You are no longer being caught off guard by certain communications with people. You are coming in fully willing to take the time to ask for the space and to process things properly. At this moment, if you are a person who does your own astrology and looks at your own stuff, look at your third house placements and look about where Mercury is in your chart, because this will help you determine what area of life this is really going to be affecting you, because it's different for everybody based on your birth time and your birthplace, right? And you'll naturally be more affected if you have Mercury in retrograde, if you have Mercury in a fire sign, or if you have Mercury in Pisces or the 12th house. And that is kind of how you look at it. That's how you look at it, and you see if this is a big one or a small one for you. Once the veil has been removed and we see the truth of something, then we're able to rewrite the story and say, okay, I know that this actually happened to me. I know that this was a very abusive situation. I know that I possibly wasted time, or I was in a situation that took too much out of me, right? Those could be the truths. But if you think about yourself now, are you in a good place now? Are you in a happy spot? Did you learn something from that? And if that has been the case, there is this need to rearrange and retrofit your story to match what's currently happening. You want to be very current with your language, not past tense. So find the things that are current in your life that point to you that you are on the right track, right? So a personal story, my dream states have been insane, right? And things have been showing up in my dream state that they're absolutely beautiful. They're weird to me because I'm just like, why is this happening? I'm not understanding. I'm seeing these particular people. Why is these situations coming about? And thinking about people that haven't really been in my awareness for a long time. That's a retrograde thing too. And what I've come to realize is my relationship to the stories around these people has drastically changed, because I'm a different person, and I'm not holding anything around that person. I'm not binding them to a particular set of rules. That's what we don't want to do, is to bind people. As an aside, just because people are your family doesn't mean they have access to your whole life or your emotions. So it is okay to take a step back. It is okay to make sure that you still have those boundaries. It is okay right now for the next 24 days to step away. Pull back your fire and step away. You have to stoke your own fire right now. So by the end of this period on the 24th, you could feel a little tired. You could feel a little raw. And you might still be doing some of that really important shadow work. That is part of that feeling tired and feeling raw, feeling exposed, feeling like you've got to drop something or end something, because you're looking to reclaim parts of yourself. So, give yourself a couple more days. Give yourself until the 26th, because the moon will be in Scorpio when we come out, and we'll want to transition into Sagittarius, which is a very positive, uplifted sign, kind of brings us out of the darkness. And so this is a very transformative Mercury retrograde. I think a lot of people are going to have activations and things happen for them that they may not exactly see the end until, a couple weeks later. And then they're like, oh, I'm really glad that thing happened for me. So I don't know, 3 months ago, a lot changed for me, and I'm super happy about it. I have Mercury retrograde natally. So anytime Mercury is in retrograde, I feel normal. I feel like things are going my way. And I hope maybe you feel bouts of that for yourself. I thank you for visiting, for stopping by. It has been fun. Please check out my eclipse video that is coming out and will be out. And you can find the description in the description box. I linked the eclipse video down there. It talks a lot about these energies, but some other things that are really activating as well. And it's kind of just all combined together. I wish you safety. I wish you health. I wish you wellness and a good inner life, as my teacher likes to say. Many blessings to you on your journey, and I will see you in the next vid. Thanks. Peace.